Motocross in the 90s was a time of punk rock, bright colours and two-stroke dirt bikes. And as the decade began, the 125 class was thriving. And there was one bike in particular that started to stick out from the crowd. The 1991 Suzuki RM125 was a striking head-turner of a tiddler that was known for its handling and was beginning to win acclaim as one of the best 125s in the world. But nowadays, despite the fact that Donny, Schmit, Stefan Everts and Pedro Tragter won 3 world championships in 4 years on this bike, I feel like the RM125 of the Super Evo era is often and unfairly overlooked. But the Suzuki really was a great bike. This machine won many a 125 shootout back in the day. So in this video, we're going to investigate just how good this bike really is, and we'll also find out how well this 31-year-old machine stacks up against modern competition. Welcome back to the Retro Shootout. A few months ago we uploaded a video much like this one where we tested what might well be the most popular vintage 125 there is. We pitted a 1989 CR125 up against my modern YZ to find out how far tiddler technology has come in 30 years. Check out that video after this one if you're interested in the results. The CR125 in that video belonged to our friend Sean Smith, and he's since decided to swap red for yellow, and this 1991 RM125 is his new pride and joy. He lovingly restored this bike and was inspired by Pedro Tragter's factory ride from back in the day. So in today's video we're both going to ride and review the 1991 RM125 before we get the stopwatches out to see how she stacks up against a modern race-tuned YZ125. So stay tuned until the end to see that showdown. So like I said at the start of this video, the RM125 of this era seems to be often overlooked. I mean, when you go to any vintage motocross event, the 125 class is almost exclusively a sea of red. But why? Like I mentioned though, the RM125 of the late 80s and early 90s really was a great bike. The 1991 edition actually did win Dirt Rider magazine's 125 shootout that year. They said it had a super snappy motor, great forks and a feather light feel. She could turn on a dime and had the punch to beat anything out the gates. But as with any machine, she wasn't quite perfect. So let's hit the track to find out exactly what she does and does not do so well.
She rips. I mean, the handles are beautiful. Standing up in these ruts are amazing. And it's got some poke. Oh yeah. Yeah. They say that this bike don't rev, but I think it revs real good. Oh yeah. For an old bike, this handles real well. It just eats ruts for breakfast. Flipping heck. 1991 Suzuki RM125. 31-year-old machine. So this is first laps, first impressions. Whoa! There, it jumps nicely, that's for sure. They went wrong there. She's punchy in the low rev range. It does seem to top out pretty quick. You got a short shift through that box. What a beautiful, beautiful bike. So fun to ride. That sound is just gorgeous with that Pro Circuit pipe. And you really have to work it like a 125. So I think it's about time we go chat, see what Sean has to say. He's on my bike right now, there you go.
We're having a shootout. I think he wants a shootout. Oh. Yeah, it's definitely quicker. Oh yes.
He's so small on that bike.
I don't know if it's any slower, you know. It might just be max speed of on the throttle. Maybe.
Right, Sean, so we've both had a ride on the 91 RM125. We've both had a ride on the modern race-tuned YZ125. But before we get into the comparisons and the review, my first question to you is, what made you decide to go down the yellow route and buy an RM?
I did a bit of racing last year with tough sheets, you know, twin shocks, and I had a CR 125 89, yeah, like everyone else had, do you know what I mean, basically, because it was a bike to have. You know, the racing's fantastic, you know what I mean, but it was just boring because everyone's on a CR and I just wanted to be on something different, if that makes sense. You know, the CR's a good bike, but you just blend into everybody, you know, and people are watching like, oh, we couldn't really see you, you know, because you're all the same.
You're in a sea of red.
So, yeah, the RM just came along. I saw this and I thought, I'll give it a shot, you know what I mean? I knew nothing about it, you know, if they were any good or not, but I thought, well, it's something different, you know, give it a go. Yeah, one of my friends, like, Alan, he said, why don't you do a Pedro Tragter, you know, replica, because his exact words were, he's short like you. And he said he pushes it to the start line, you know, it's just one of them jokes. So I thought, oh, so I had a quick look. I thought, yeah, all right, yeah, I'll do that.
So since then you've obviously given it the makeover.
Yeah, so,
today's the first ride out.
Yeah.
It's a strong bike, I thought.
Yeah, very strong. I mean, it handles fantastic.
Yeah, as expected with Suzuki.
It handles better than that 89 Honda, you know.
I felt
it does, but as a stock bike from one to another, I know this is slightly newer, but yeah, it was just heads and shoulders over the Honda for handling.
Yeah, I felt, because we did that Honda video a few months ago, didn't we? The track was a little bit slicker, but when I jumped on that, the CR, felt a little bit unstable over the jumps. Straight away on this, I hit that double on the whoops, fine. This big tabletop felt completely fine. And that was one of the things I read up on this bike. They said it jumped really well. It was really like a good flyer, they call it.
I think it's a good all-rounder, isn't it? You know, it's not, you know, it doesn't excel in you know, to put one particular area, but I think it does well all the way through. Do you know what I mean? You know,
I think it's a very usable bike for the average rider. Like that CR is, you want it to be a top-end 125 rider to get the most out of it, whereas this probably was a bit, back in the day, a bit more friendly to your average club guy and everything like that.
I think with the CR there was no room for error, you know, as in like being in the right gear, because there's no bottom end on them things. They're renowned for it. If you did get in the wrong gear or you made a little bit of a slip up, that's it. Some people are coming by you, but you know,
it's got quite a bit of torque for 125, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit more torquey. It doesn't rev as high, I don't think. I don't think it revs as strong.
You got to work that gearbox a lot more than.
But I don't think there's any disadvantage, if I'm honest, from a stock to stock bike. You know, I know this has got the Pro Circuit pipe on it, but the Honda had the Fresco. You know,
and it sounds absolutely lovely with that pipe on it. It sounds so sweet out there today.
As far as I can gather, I think the pipe is a period pipe from back in the day.
And you've obviously cleaned that up.
Yeah, I cleaned it up. I mean, it was black when I got it, but when I cleaned it up, you know, it's all got the brazing on it, which you don't really see. I've not seen a Pro Circuit pipe with, you know, where the bits are brazed. I don't know. Could be a factory pipe.
Mitch, let us know. Yeah, in terms of handling, turns really well, doesn't it? Turns on a dime. maybe this is another thing that I read, it like the high speeds, there's not too many long straights here and it's not that bumpy out there, but one of the things I read was it was a bit unstable at high speeds.
Yeah.
I had like one like head shake moment out there on the fastest straight here, but
I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I was
that's
a
maybe
little bit
because
stronger.
it's maybe because it's like the bars are different, not used what I'm used to.
I know it is my setup, and I have got a very unique setup on a bike. Everybody says that, but it, you know,
We both rode this back to back with the modern YZ125, but just compare the two bikes, the 31-year-old versus my modern race tuned Yamaha. What were your initial thoughts there?
worlds apart. Worlds apart, yeah, worlds
Even
apart.
just like ergonomically,
yeah,
everything felt so different, didn't it?
Yeah.
When I hopped back onto my Yamaha, I felt weird. I felt like I was sliding up and down the seat because there's no.
The strangest thing that was for me was after riding the Yam, you know, which was like fantastic, really strong motor. Do you know what I mean? The bike is very good, and then getting onto this felt like a scrambler, if that makes sense. You know, that's a modern motocross
You felt
bike.
like you've actually gone back in
I've
time.
got on a scrambler, and strangely enough, and it's never happened before, believe it or not, that it felt small. I mean, how's that happen?
That's never happened to Sean in his entire life.
Yeah, this bike, when I got on it, just literally, it felt small. But you know, a couple of laps in, you know, you dialed it in, and away you go.
It's just it's the engine characteristics were so different, weren't they? And
massively.
you could straight away notice it on that how strong that Yamaha is.
Just by the blip of the throttle on the Yam, you know, you can feel it had power.
You can have just as much fun on either. I think I had fun on both bikes today, and this thoroughly impressed me. I thought it was a properly fun bike to ride.
Yeah, I think if we were at Hawkstone, we'd probably be saying something different.
Yeah. Round our test track, a bit closer.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there then. The ultimate decider to see which bike is best, a 31-year-old RM or the modern race tuned YZ. Let's do a lap time showdown. So, Sean, get geared up. Let's do it.
Let's have it.
Give me the good news. Right, so on this bad boy, on the modern day, we're calling it the modern day race tuned YZ125, quickest time was a 1:43.6. The 31-year-old Suzuki RM125, quickest time there on the last lap, 1:44.3.
Crazy.
Half a second in 20 odd years. Not a lot, is it?
Crazy.
Not a lot.
Yeah. To be fair, when I got off that and I got onto this, it felt like a little tiny scrambler. It felt low, compact, small. The suspension felt Do you know what I mean? It was like, I can't describe it, it felt horrendous compared to that. But a few laps in, get used to it.
Right, there we go then. So that is the result. The 1991 RM125 is a great bike. It's just under a second slower than a race-tuned modern day 125. So it just goes to show how good that thing was back in the day. You can see why Stefan Everts, Donny, Schmit, Pedro, Tragter won world titles on that bike. But yeah, a fun little test I reckon, wasn't it? Hopefully we'll do some more of these kind of retro shootouts in the future. If you want to see more of those, let us know in the comments down below. Let us know what bikes you want to see us try next. And as always guys, remember to like, share and subscribe. My name's Max, his name's Sean, this is 999 Laser. We'll catch you next time.